Welcome back, MTN Giants podcast previewing the Giants and Rams here in week number 17. Giants are home, but they are 6-point underdogs, which, it makes sense. The Rams have been really good lately. They, at one point, found themselves, I think the Rams were like 4-7 at one point, but they have now won, how many? They've won 5 of their past 6 games, so they've been on fire, and they've played really good football. Matthew Stafford is playing like an MVP. I think Don Martindale said the same exact thing. Like, Matthew Stafford started out the year a little bit slow. There was no Cooper Kupp the first 5 weeks, so that makes sense. But I feel like the past month and a half or so, Matthew Stafford's been one of the top maybe 5 quarterbacks in the league. Like, he's been so good, and he's been healthy. So he did miss that one game, I think, versus Green Bay. But after he came back from that, they've only lost one game, and that was in week 9. So, good to see that for the Rams. They're fighting for a playoff spot. The Giants, of course, will be starting Tyrod Taylor. That's kind of what's new with them. We finally got news about Evan Neal and why he has not played in so freaking long. Turns out he has a fracture in his ankle. So I don't know how the medical staff and all that missed that, but they finally figured it out for an injury that happened back on, I think it was November 5th. And we're sitting here. The news came out on December 29th. So they went almost 2 whole months before properly diagnosing the guy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they had to wait for swelling to go down, to be fair. I don't know. Not a doctor. Don't understand that stuff. But at least we now have some resolution of why Evan Neal has not played in so long. And it's still frustrating. I would have loved to have seen him play more in a lost season to see if our former 7th overall pick from a couple years ago can turn into something good. I still think he gets one more shot at it at right tackle next year. I don't think it makes sense to replace him now. They invested too much to give up this early. So, my stance is that I think if Evan Neal plays right tackle next year and he sucks, then maybe by year 4, they probably move him to guard and see if that works. And if not, then you let him go. So anyway, we'll go over the injuries, the matchups, all that stuff. Spread picks at the end. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. We'll start with the injuries. I know Deonte Banks seems like really questionable. He has that shoulder injury. He left the game early last week. So he's been getting limited practices on Thursday and Friday, but he does seem like actually questionable. So we'll see if he plays. Lawrence Cager, doubtful. Dexter Lawrence is not on the injury report right now, I don't think. Well, he is technically, but I think he should be fine. Like, he's good to go. A'Shawn Robinson should be good to go. Nacho's interesting. I don't know if he'll play or not. They don't have a game status for him, so maybe he is good to go, but I know he missed last week, I believe. Saquon good to go. Wan'Dale Robinson's questionable with a quad injury. The concerning thing is that he practiced in the full on Thursday, but then went to a limited practice on Friday. So when you go backwards like that in the middle of a practice week, it's usually not a good sign. So I don't know. Maybe they just are cautious with Wan'Dale. They have a lot, not like a ton, but a good amount invested for a second-round pick in year 2. Maybe they just give him the week off and maybe the year off. Darren Waller, full practice. He should be good to go. He might be Tyrod's top target. Of course, Waller was playing his best football when Tyrod was playing quarterback before Waller got hurt versus the Jets that one week. For the Los Angeles Rams, Puka Nacua is questionable. Did not practice on Friday, so he really is questionable with a hip injury. I feel like Puka does tough it out more times than not. He's been on the injury report a good amount this year, but still, I don't know. That'd be a big loss for them. Ernest Jones, their linebacker, did not practice on Friday with an illness, so that's a little more, I don't know. Like, illnesses, I have no idea what the illness is. There's, some bad viruses going around now. Who the hell knows? I know Jalen Hurts almost didn't play a couple weeks ago because of a virus or whatever. So, I don't know. I would think by tomorrow, this guy, Ernest Jones, who has been really good for them this year, he should be fine. But I don't know. If he's not playing, that's a pretty big loss for them at linebacker. Aaron Donald was resting. He'll be fine to go. And Alaric Jackson, who I believe is their left tackle, he's been playing pretty decent. He's questionable with a thigh injury. So they could be without their left tackle. And I think their backup left tackle, Joe Noteboom, he's also questionable. So they might be down to their third left tackle if these guys don't play. But I'm assuming one of them should play. So nothing too crazy on the injuries this week. We'll just dive into the matchups now. Over-unders 43.5, by the way, so a decent amount there. The Giants offense with Tyrod, I mean, it should move pretty well. I think we've seen that by now, that when Tyrod's the quarterback, this team does move the ball a good amount. They weren't scoring a ton of points when Tyrod was starting in like the middle of the year, but they also, of course, there's context. They got stopped on the one twice in the Bills game. There was a missed field goal in the Washington game. Barkley fumbled in the red zone in the Washington game too. So like there was points taken away for just stupid shit that probably shouldn't happen. So the offense was moving the ball with Tyrod, and I do think Tyrod obviously gives them the best chance to win. I know there's people that are very pro Tommy DeVito and want to see him play. I mean, I think we've seen enough. I think we know what he is. He was never going to be the next Brock Purdy, but I don't blame the Giants for at least trying it out and see how it went. But the past 2 weeks, or I should say a week and a half because he got benched at halftime, but the past week and a half for DeVito, it just wasn't working. And they weren't moving the ball well enough. There were guys open in the Eagles game. He was not finding them. We saw this, from the All-22 clips on Twitter and stuff like that. There were guys open, and he wasn't finding them. And Tyrod came in, and they were moving the ball. The defense made some plays, obviously, like the pick six from Adoree, but I think Tyrod obviously gives them the best chance to win. So the Giants offense, we'll just start with them because we're already on the Tyrod topic. The Rams defense coming into the year, I expected nothing. Like, to me, they were just like, it was like the meme with the Ferrari in the garage of a shitty house. Like, it was like Aaron Donald, and the rest is just like this cluster F of like guys that were undrafted free agents and middle round picks and just not that good of players. But I mentioned like Ernest Jones has stepped up big time this year. I mean, who else has stepped up for them? Like Akilo Witherspoon is still playing at corner. Like he's been okay for them this year. Who else? They got John Johnson back at safety. He was a former Ram, went to the Browns, now back with the Rams. He's decent, but nobody's like that impressive on this defense. So I'm not too nervous about that. But for some reason, they continue to play well. I think coaching is really the thing that really brings the Rams over the top. Like, obviously, Sean McVay, all things equal, is probably a top 5 coach in the league. And you even look at the Rams' offensive line, right? Like, looking at their offense. Like, their offensive line is not that talented. Like, I feel like the only guy that is a recognizable name. Now, they did hit on this Steve Avila pick in the second round this year at guard. Like, he has been a good find for them. But aside from Rob Havenstein, he was the right tackle for years. I think he was playing there when they were in the Super Bowl back in 2018. I mean, he's like the one guy who, like, what you're getting. But, I feel like aside from that, their offensive line does not have that much talent, right? They have a guy, Kevin Dotson, playing right guard, who right now on PFF is the second-ranked guard in the NFL. He was a 4th-round pick in 2020. So they're getting great production from guys that, let's be honest, they probably should not be getting great production from. So you got to give the Rams coaches a lot of credit. I feel like they're making, something out of nothing, basically. Like, that roster is not that good. Like, you look past Donald, Stafford, Nakua, and Kupp, and I'll put Kyron Williams in there too. You look past those 5 guys, and it's like, the roster ain't that good. But you still look here, and they're 8-7, and have a good chance of probably going 9-8. I mean, they do play the Niners the final week of the year next week, so we'll see if they're resting guys or not. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, probably not, because they lost last week to Baltimore. But my point is, like, the Rams coaching has really been great this year. So, anyway, for the Giants offense, I would expect Waller to see a bunch of targets. That's Tyrod's go-to guy. Maybe Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt's been quiet lately. I feel like, with DeVito, it's tough for him to, have his downfield catches and stuff. Of course, Hyatt was at his best with Tyrod. So I'm thinking, Hyatt probably has a couple of deep ball shots in this game. Do they hit? I don't know. Can't predict the future. But I would think that Jalen Hyatt probably gets a couple shots in this game. And if they convert, then he might have a big day of 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, or it might be like a one catch for, 20 yards or something. Like, I don't know. So he'll have his shots, though. Tyrod's not afraid to sling it. So we'll see. Of course, Wandale in the slot. That's going to be an interesting thing if he plays or not, but if not, you can probably like throw in Hodgins or Sterling Shepard to play that role or something. Like, they'll figure it out. Where the hell has, what's his name? Where's Paris Campbell been? Like, that guy has not seen the field, I feel like, since like week 5. He has made no impact at all. And what was the contract he got from us? I feel like it was a decent amount of money. It was a 1-year deal, but I feel like he got something decent, right? It might have been like 4 or 5 million. Yeah, it was 4.7. All right, not crazy, but still. I was kind of excited when he came here. I was like, yeah, like he's a good player when he's healthy, and for the most part, he's been healthy this year, but he just is not really contributing. So maybe just wrong team, wrong fit. I don't know. But yeah, the Giants' offense, they should be all right in this game. I'm not that concerned. I do think they can put up points with Tyrod, obviously. I want to see where the Rams rank this year in terms of defense and stuff. But when Tyrod's in, like, I have a lot more confidence in this offense than I did with DeVito, to be fair. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or mean to the guy, but I just trust this Giants offense more with the veteran Tyrod. So defensively this year, the Rams are 19th in points allowed, 18th in yards allowed. They are 22nd in passing yards allowed. Okay, so that's not very good. 24th in passing touchdowns allowed. Rushing-wise, they're 13th against the run, and they've allowed the 10th fewest rushing touchdowns this year. So a worse pass defense than run defense. So I would think Tyrod actually has a decent game in this one. I could see him going for like 240 yards, a couple touchdowns, something like that. And, if the Giants' defense shows up, it might be enough to win. I hope not. I want the draft pick, but, it might be enough to win. The Rams' offense this year has been really good. 9th in points, 7th in yards. They are 2nd in turnovers. That's really good. So 2nd in turnovers, that's awesome. They are 10th in passing yards this year. Of course, Stafford being healthy is big for that. They are 10th in rushing yards. Kyren Williams, was he undrafted or was he a late pick? He was either a late pick or undrafted. He missed a few weeks this year too, and I think he's 2nd in the NFL in rushing. I think he was on the IR, so he missed like 4 or 5 weeks. But Kyren Williams has been unbelievable. And if you got him in fantasy football after week 1 off the waivers, then you're probably in the championship, or I don't know, probably a good team. But anyway, the Giants defense will definitely have a tough task in this one. There's no doubt about that. So we'll look at those matchups quickly. Puka Nacua is ranked as the 7th wide receiver on PFF out of 123 wide receivers. Guy was a 5th-round pick out of BYU. So just crazy stuff there. Good find by them. But Deonte Banks playing is a big thing. I would love to see him play, obviously. I want to see these young guys play. That's pretty much the point of watching these games at this point. We have Cooper Kupp still. He's been getting better. I feel like Cooper Kupp was really crappy for like 3 or 4 weeks at one point. And the past like 2 or 3 games, he's been back to his old self. But he definitely hit like a pretty big speed bump or something at one point in the season. Like, he started out the year great, and then he was just bad, and now he's good again. So, Cooper Kupp should be good to go. They've gotten good production from Demarcus Robinson, who I think was at one point rumored to go to the Giants, like back in like 2019. It was a while ago. But Demarcus Robinson, I think, has caught 2 touchdowns in the past 2 games. Like, he's been good for them. He's, pretty big receiver. He is 6'1", but like, he plays big. He's on the outside. Stafford is good with those big receivers. We know Kenny Golladay, of course. He made Golladay something. He made Marvin Jones something. Marvin Jones was good regardless, but Stafford and Marvin Jones had good connection. Calvin Johnson was big. I mean, he would have been good with anybody. Eric Ebron. Like, there was guys. Brandon Pettigrew. Like, Stafford just finds these guys, like these big body receivers, and Stafford's just so good at just, like, slinging the ball right into your chest and, like, big receivers that can box guys out. That's what Matthew Stafford likes to throw to. So, tight end is Tyler Higbee. He's pretty solid, so, he might have a decent game. Kyren Williams, that's the guy I wanted to talk about. He was a 5th-round pick in 2022, so 2 years ago now. He has been so good for them this year. Kyren, it was a weird year because they came in the season with Cam Akers coming off the torn Achilles, and I feel like him and Sean McVay just never got along. There was something there, like something weird with Cam Akers, and I think by the 2nd week of the year only, he was benched. He was made inactive, and then he was traded to the Vikings, and then he tore his Achilles again. So I don't know if his career's over or not. He'll probably try to come back, but just a tough thing there for Cam Akers. But now Kyren Williams, once again, this 5th-round pick in 2022, has been probably the best running back in football not named Christian McCaffrey this year. Like, I don't know if that's crazy to say or not, but he has been that good from like an efficiency standpoint, from a, yards per game standpoint. As I meant, like he missed 4 or 5 weeks this year, and this guy is like second in the league in rushing. So he's so good. I did not think of him as like a good between the tackles runner. He's listed at 5'9", 194, but he's been so good for them this year. So shout out to Kyron Williams. He's been awesome. And Matthew Stafford, he's now, what is he, 34, 35? He's probably like 35, right? This thing won't load for some reason, but Stafford's probably like 35 now. 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. The Rams, once again, they can get back to the playoffs this year, and they might be a little scary. He's 35, almost 36. So, Stafford's always been one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I just feel like he was so underappreciated in Detroit, and when he was in the Super Bowl, I was definitely rooting for him. Listen, if the Bengals won, I wouldn't care. I was not going to lose sleep over it, but I was always a big Stafford guy. And, of course, Odell was on that team, too. So, I had to root for the Rams that year. But I feel like Stafford has always been underappreciated. And, people put, that losing culture in Detroit on him, and it just wasn't fair. And then he goes to a new team with a, good coach, good environment with McVay. And look what happens. They won the freaking Super Bowl. So, right now, the Rams are in the 6th seed, which would be a good spot to be in. There are, 7 seeds that make the playoffs. So the 6th seed, they are 8-7. They need to hold off the Vikings and the Packers and the Saints and the Falcons. This is a tight-ass conference. Wow. So there's 4 teams they have to hope lose. And, of course, the Rams have to handle business on their own. If they win, they have an 87% chance of making the playoffs. So this is a big game for them, obviously, right? So they currently have a 65% chance of making it. And if the Rams lose this game, they have a 25% chance of making the playoffs. This is ultimately a playoff game for them. I don't see Sean McVay coming into MetLife and losing this game, but I guess crazier things have happened. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to expect the Rams to win, though. I think it'll be pretty close. I don't know if they'll cover the 6 or not. I guess I'll just make a prediction now. Let's see. I'll just say 27-20 or something. I don't know, 27-20. I guess that would mean the Rams would cover. So 27-20, something like that. I think the Rams could win this game. So, all right. So with that said, I think we covered everything with the game. Now we'll get into the spread picks. All right, spread pick time. I forgot to mention this, but there are reports coming out about how the Bears are really considering keeping Justin Fields for next year, which would be a massive W for the Giants. Obviously, with the Panthers and the Bears trade, very good chance the Bears have the first overall pick. So if they keep Fields and that pick is up for grabs, that is so big for the Giants. It really is. So I hope they keep Justin Fields. I wouldn't do it personally. I would just trade him and take Caleb Williams, but I don't know. It's a weird situation there, so we'll see how it plays out. But that is some good news. I don't know if those reports are 100% accurate, but I've seen a bunch of people saying it, so maybe. I just think it's a dumb idea. And I like Justin Fields. I feel like Justin Fields still has untapped potential, but when you can reset that rookie contract and get a better prospect in Caleb Williams, I'm doing that every single time. But hey, we'll see what happens. All right, so spread pick time. I went 8-7 last week. I got screwed on a couple of these. The Seattle Seahawks won by 3. They were 3.5-point favorites. The Jets won by 2. They were 3-point favorites. It's shit like that. So it was kind of annoying. Even the Packers won by 3, and they were 4-point favorites. So gotta love Vegas. But anyway, so I'm now 110 and 103 and 8 on the year. So we're over 500 by 7 games. 2 weeks left. Hopefully can finish out the year over 500. That's always the goal. So hopefully I can do that here. So anyway, start with the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys tonight. This is going to be a fun game. The spread has really expanded to the Cowboys. Wow. So -5.5 for Dallas, which is pretty interesting. I don't know why it's so many points. Do they expect Jared Goff to just shit the bed tonight? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of crazy, right? They're baiting me to take the Lions, but I just feel like I'm being baited. So I will just go against every instinct I have and just take Dallas. Why not? I don't know. I feel like for the Giants, you want Detroit to win because I think that would really make the Eagles play their starters next week. And, of course, the Giants do play the Eagles next week, so I do want to lose that game. So I don't know. I will be rooting for Detroit, but I just think with the spread, I'll take Dallas. And actually, you know what? Frick it. Whatever. I'm just going to take frickin' Detroit. Why not? I need to root for them. What am I doing here? So Detroit plus 5.5 for me. Lock it in. I don't have any conviction on that. I will not be betting it probably, but whatever. We have the Arizona Cardinals at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles favorites by 11.5 points. I know Kyler was a bit banged up this week. He missed a couple practices. Philly's been not Philly lately. They have, the former defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, is now coaching the Arizona Cardinals. So he probably knows a lot about this Philly offense. I'll just take Arizona. Arizona plus 11.5 for me. I do like the fact that Gannon was with the Eagles, and he knows what they want to do on offense and stuff. So next, the Atlanta Falcons at the Chicago Bears. My favorite, the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, man. I will take Chicago minus 2.5. It is cold weather, and Atlanta is going to have trouble running the ball because Chicago's run defense has actually been really good this year. Not the entire year, but I would say ever since like the first month of the season, they've been a really good run defense, and I do not trust Taylor Heineke to like win that game for them in the air. So I will take Chicago minus 2.5. They've been playing much better football, so I will take them. Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do believe Trevor Lawrence is out this week. It's CJ Beathard or Beathard, whatever his name is. I'm gonna ride the Beathard. Pause. I will take the Jaguars minus 4 in this game. I feel like the Panthers, they may have figured out some things on offense. They looked better last week. They put up 30 points against the Packers, which is nice. But Tommy DeVito played well against them too. So I mean, the Packers defense is not that good. So yeah, I'll just take Jacksonville. I mean, I'm talking myself into Carolina, but I'll just take Jacksonville minus 4. They have more talent. There's way more to play for. So Jacksonville minus 4 for me. Las Vegas at the Colts. Colts minus 3.5. I think I'll take Vegas here. I'm going to take LV plus 3.5. I mean, I just feel like their defense has been great lately. We saw what they did last week to Mahomes, and ever since Antonio Pierce took over, that team has had a new attitude. They've been playing much better football. I know that the Colts get Michael Pittman back. That's big for them. They're coming off a pretty bad loss in Atlanta last week, but you know what? I just like the way Vegas is playing, so I'll take them plus 3.5. Maybe they lose by a field goal and I still win the spread, so yeah. The Rams at the Giants. It is Giants plus 6 at home. I did think I picked the Rams, right? Yeah, I'll go with the Rams here as a minus 6 on the road. I mean, yeah, I could see Tyrod playing well once again and the Giants covering and maybe even winning, but I don't know. I just like the way the Rams look right now. They're playing for a lot, so I'll just take the Rams here as a minus 6. I put plus 6. That is definitely not the right spread. So Rams at minus 6. Miami at Baltimore. This is a great game. Baltimore minus 3. I don't love Miami on the road. I feel like they disappoint us sometimes on the road. Baltimore's been so good lately. I mean, yes, they can have a bit of a letdown coming off that great win last week, but hey, I will take Baltimore minus 3. I think they're probably a top 2 team in football right now. This is a big game. Both teams care a lot about it. So, yeah, I'll take Baltimore minus 3. I think they're the better team, and I like their defense. New England at Buffalo. Buffalo minus 14. Oh, my gosh. Wow. I'm taking New England. They won last week. They've been playing much better football since Zappe took over. I feel like Buffalo looked pretty crappy last week. There's something going on there with Diggs. Diggs is not playing like his usual self. He has not had like a big fantasy game in like 6 weeks. So I don't know what's going on with him, but I'll take New England. 2 touchdowns, why not? New England plus 14. The Saints are at the Buccaneers. Bucks minus 2.5. Absolutely taking Tampa Bay. I just can't get behind Derek Carr in a big game. It's a very big game for this division. I like Tampa this year. Baker's been so good for them. I'll take Tampa minus 2.5. The Niners are at the Commanders. Let's go Commanders, although I doubt they have any shot of winning this game. I will take San Francisco. There's already rumors about Jacoby Brissett, who was supposed to replace Sam Howell. Brissett might miss this game with a hamstring injury, so you know what? I'm just going to take San Francisco minus 14 on the road. They're coming off a loss. They probably are going to just beat the crap out of them. So, yeah, San Fran minus 14 for me. Tennessee at Houston. Love Houston in this game. I'm probably going to bet this one. I think Houston's going to just destroy them. They get C.J. Stroud back, Nico Collins back. They're getting healthy. The Titans just lost Jeffrey Simmons for the rest of the year. Like, they are. I really think Houston's going to win this game by a lot. So 3.5 seems way too close for me. It's going to be Houston minus 3.5 for me. Pittsburgh at Seattle. Seattle minus 4. Tell you what, man. Mason Rudolph looked pretty good last week, huh? All right, so I don't know. This is a close one for me. I just think I'll take Pittsburgh plus 4. This feels like a game that'll be close for no reason. You have two like old headed coaches and OG coaches going at it. Probably like a low scoring game in the end, but I'll just take Pittsburgh. I'll just take the points. Like, why not? So Pittsburgh plus 4 for me. Cincinnati at Kansas City. It's Kansas City favored by 6.5. I just, like, last week I took the Chiefs thinking like they have to just turn this around at some point, and they went out and lost the game last week. They didn't cover the 10. They lost the game outright, which is crazy. So I kind of have the same philosophy now of like, I got to take the Chiefs because they'll turn this around at some point, but I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go against that. I'm taking Cincinnati. Cincinnati plus 6.5. Jake Browning coming off his worst game. I think they'll bounce back a bit. So, Jamar Chase is looking like he'll play. So, I like Cincy, I guess. I'll just take them plus 6.5 there on the road. The Chargers at Denver. Love Denver in this game. Absolutely taking Denver. This is like the Sean Payton FU game. Like, they benched Russell Wilson, which people found odd. It's going to be Jarrett Stidham. Stidham has had decent moments in this league. I think Denver's offense has a great game in this one, and I would not be surprised if, like, we look at the scoreboard and they're up, like, 24-6 at the end of the first half or something. Like, it feels like that kind of game. So I'll take Denver minus 3.5. Probably betting that one in real life. The Packers are at the Vikings. Good game here. Wow. Sorry. So it's going to be Minnesota Pick'em. All right. Well, so just pick the winner outright in this game. Who are we taking? I mean, Minnesota's going with Jaron Hall at quarterback, which is interesting. They tried Nick Mullins for a couple weeks. He threw 4 picks last week. He was scoring points for them, but just way too many turnovers. He threw a duck to Jefferson at the end of that game. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'll just take Jaron Hall. Why not? I'll take Jaron Hall and Minnesota. It feels dumb because I know they're missing Hawkinson now, but I don't know. I like Kevin O'Connell. I feel like Jaron Hall could be decent. I mean, he looked pretty good in that one quarter he played this year until he got hurt. So, yeah, I'll take Minnesota Pick'em. Why not? This game already happened. Joe Flacco, he did it again. The Jets and the Browns. I actually bet the Browns in this game, and yeah, they took care of business pretty easily. I did face Breece Hall in fantasy. That was not fun in one of my championships, but then I had the Cleveland defense too, and they got 15, so kind of evened out, I guess. But anyway, that's going to do it. Let's root for the Commanders this week. Let's root for the Bears to take, not take a quarterback. Let's root for who else we need to win. Let's go to Tankathon quickly. I know it's a Disney ad showing, but still. Carolina, Washington. All right, let's root for the Patriots. Let's root for Washington. Root for the Chargers. Root for Tennessee. All these teams around us. I don't want Arizona to win. I think Arizona probably sticks with Kyler, so I just want Arizona to stay where they're at. I guess root for the Panthers in that case, right? Because if they, the strength of schedule is much higher for the Cardinals, so never mind. I think Carolina has that first pick locked up, which goes to the Bears, obviously. So anyway, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, leave a like if you hung around, and I'll talk to you guys next time.